In the year 3147, humanity had spread across the stars. Colonies sparkled on distant planets. Trade ships moved between star systems, and fleets patrolled the void to protect human settlements. Yet despite all this progress, one truth remained sacred. Earth was the heart of humanity. It was the place that had taught humans courage, creativity, and endurance. And now that heart had gone silent. Captain Arik Voss stood on the bridge of the starship Dauntless, staring at the blinking communication console. Every message sent to Earth had returned as empty static. Days had passed, and the silence only grew heavier. Arik felt a cold knot of fear in his stomach. Earth was not just a planet, and it was humanity's soul. And suddenly it seemed lost. "Captain, there's something coming through the channel," said Lieutenant Mara Chen, the fleet's communications officer, her voice trembling. It's human. But it's different, strange, angry." Arik moved closer to the console. The message was brief, sharp, and unmistakably human. The words cut across the fleet's communication systems like a warning shot. "You will pay the consequences of crossing the line." The bridge went silent. No name, no explanation. Only a threat. Arik felt a shiver crawl down his spine. Who had sent it? Were these the last humans hiding beneath the ruins of Earth? Or was it some trap? A ghostly echo designed to terrify anyone who tried to come near. The crew stared at him, anxiety written clearly on their faces. Humanity's colonies depended on Earth. If the planet had truly fallen, the ripple effect would be devastating. Trade routes would collapse. Settlements could be destroyed. Hope would fade. And yet this one message radiated strength, not fear. Whoever sent it was alive, human, and ready. Arik's mind raced. The Zephyr Dominion, a merciless alien empire, had been advancing relentlessly, conquering worlds and destroying fleets. Could this message be meant for them? Or was it a signal to Arik and the fleet? A promise that humanity had survived and that anyone foolish enough to underestimate them would regret it. The words were simple, but their meaning was immense. Humanity had endured. Humanity would fight back, and the galaxy would learn the price of crossing the line. "Prepare the fleet," Arik ordered, his voice steady despite the fear twisting in his chest. "We're going to Earth. Whatever awaits us there, we face it together." As the Dauntless and its fleet moved through the void, the stars stretched into long trails of light. The engines hummed steadily, but the tension was heavy in every cabin. The galaxy had watched humanity grow, wondering if humans could be broken. Now a single chilling message answered that question. Humans could not be broken. Humans would endure. Somewhere on the ruined surface of Earth, survivors had waited, hidden beneath the wreckage of cities and forests turned to ash. They were preparing. They had seen their planet burned and thought the galaxy would consider them finished. But they were not finished. They were stronger, smarter, and angrier than ever. And the moment had come to remind the universe that humanity's line was sacred. For centuries, the galaxy had believed that humans could be pushed, crushed, or even destroyed. Now for the first time, the galaxy would see the truth. Earth was alive. Humanity was alive, and the consequences for anyone who dared cross the line would be unimaginable. The Dauntless led the fleet through the dark stretches of space, the stars streaking past like silver ribbons. Every officer on board felt the tension in the air. The silence from Earth was heavy, almost suffocating, and the warning in the last transmission echoed in their minds. "You will pay the consequences of crossing the line." Captain Arik Voss stood at the observation deck, eyes fixed on the distant blue and green sphere of his homeworld. Earth was beautiful from afar, serene against the black canvas of space. But he knew the truth. Something had happened. Something terrible. The fleet had already lost colonies to the Zephyr Dominion. And if Earth had fallen, humanity itself could be in danger. Lieutenant Mara Chen, still pale from the previous encounter with the cryptic transmission, approached him quietly. "Captain." Sensors detect energy signatures on the surface. Small, faint, but alive. She swallowed hard. "Whatever is down there, it's not gone." Arik's heart skipped a beat. "Alive?" he asked. "After all this." "After the Zephyr? How?" Mara shook her head. "I don't know, but it's human. I can tell. Something is hiding, preparing, waiting for us." The fleet descended into the orbit of Earth, and the view stunned even the hardened officers. Cities were shattered, oceans were scarred, forests reduced to ash. Fires still glowed faintly across the continents, evidence of devastation on a scale they could hardly comprehend. Yet beneath the ruin, Faint lights blinked here and there. Hidden bunkers, underground tunnels, perhaps entire settlements surviving in secret. Arik felt a mix of dread and hope. Humanity had not just survived the Zyphor attack. It had adapted. It had endured. And if the warnings were any indication, humans were ready to fight back in ways the galaxy could not imagine. "Captain," Mara said softly, pointing to the sensor readouts. "I think the message, the warning, came from them. From Earth itself. Whoever survived is powerful, organized, and angry." Arik clenched his fists. Anger. That was a word he hadn't thought of in years when it came to humanity, but it made sense now. The Zyphor had crossed the line. They had invaded, destroyed, and assumed humans would surrender. Instead, the survivors had hidden, endured the impossible, and now were ready to teach the galaxy a lesson. The fleet maneuvered through the orbit, scanning the surface for safe landing zones. The silence of Earth pressed on them. It was not just the absence of human voices, but the eerie stillness of a world that had survived devastation. Every ruined building, every crater, every flicker of underground light told a story of survival, of determination, and of waiting. Arik thought of the families, the children, the scientists, and soldiers who might still live beneath the ruined cities. Every human who had survived was part of a plan that the Zyphor could not even guess. And that plan, whatever it was, could change the fate of the galaxy. Suddenly, a low hum ran through the fleet sensors. It was faint but steady, mechanical, deliberate. The hidden humans were activating something, preparing for whatever came next. Arik realized that Earth itself had become a fortress, a silent guardian, waiting for the moment to strike. The captain turned to his crew. "This is not just a mission," he said, voice steady. "It's a journey to the heart of humanity. What we find down there will decide the future of every human colony in the galaxy. Be ready, because whatever awaits us, it is unlike anything we have ever seen." The fleet descended further, gliding over the ruined landscapes. The glow of underground cities flickered like stars fallen to Earth. Somewhere deep below, humanity waited. And the galaxy, unknowing and arrogant, was about to learn the true cost of crossing the line. As the Dauntless moved closer, the last warning of Earth lingered in every mind. "You will pay the consequences of crossing the line." It was not a threat spoken lightly. It was a promise, and the promise of Earth would soon be kept. The silence of space shattered in an instant. From the dark side of the moon, massive Zyphor warships emerged, their black hulls glinting like knives under the distant sun. Plasma cannons flared, slicing through orbiting debris, and warning sirens blared across the human fleet. The colonies had feared this moment for decades. The Zyphor Dominion had finally reached Earth. Captain Arik Voss gritted his teeth and gave the order. "All ships, battle stations, prepare to engage. Protect the fleet at all costs." The Dauntless surged forward, its engines blazing as weapon systems powered up. Human ships returned fire, their lasers cutting through the dark void. But even the most advanced human weapons barely scratched the alien hulls. The Zyphor fleet moved like a single unstoppable organism, crushing everything in its path. Fear rippled across the human crews. The losses they had suffered on distant colonies now seemed insignificant compared to the threat looming over their homeworld. Yet amid the chaos, the crew sensed something impossible, a subtle shift in the battle, as if the planet itself was waiting, watching. Then it happened. From beneath the ruins of Earth, a hidden fleet rose. Ships unlike any seen in human or alien space glided into orbit. Sleek, dark, bristling with energy weapons, they struck with unerring precision. Entire Zyphor destroyers disintegrated in brilliant bursts of fire. The fleet moved as if guided by a single mind, attacking, dodging, and overpowering the alien forces with terrifying efficiency. "Captain, these are human ships," Lieutenant Mara whispered, her eyes wide with awe. "From Earth itself. They've been waiting for this moment." Arik felt his pulse race. It was beyond anything he had imagined. Humanity, thought to be crushed and hidden, had survived and now revealed its true power. Every ship, every weapon, every pilot was a testament to human endurance and ingenuity. The Zyphor flagship hovered above the ruins of New York, its energy cannons primed to destroy what little remained. Then across all communication channels, the voice of Earth boomed again, clear and cold. "You will pay the consequences of crossing the line." The words carried through the void like a war cry. The Zyphor ships faltered for a moment, confused by the sudden emergence of a force they had believed extinct. And then the hidden fleet struck, ripping through their lines with matched precision. Auric's fleet, inspired by the sudden arrival of Earth's forces, fought with renewed courage. Losses still came, but every strike now had the support of the hidden fleet. The Sci-Fi Dominion, the galaxy's most feared force, had met the humans they had assumed were broken, and they were unprepared for what they faced. As the battle raged, Auric felt a swell of pride and awe. Humanity had endured unimaginable loss, yet it had not bowed. It had learned, adapted, and now, in the face of extinction, it struck back with a ferocity that no alien could predict. Amid the chaos, he caught glimpses of the human crews aboard the hidden ships, eyes filled with anger, determination, and hope. Children's names, scientists' faces, soldiers who had survived the fall of Earth, all represented in the fleet that now rained fire upon the Sci-Fi. Humanity was not just surviving. Humanity was winning. The first clash ended with the Sci-Fi retreating, their fleet battered and broken. Yet the message was clear. Earth was alive, and it had more power than anyone could imagine. The galaxy had underestimated humans for the last time. Captain Auric stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, voice trembling with emotion. "They thought we were finished," he said softly. "They were wrong. They will never underestimate us again." And somewhere, deep beneath the ruined surface of Earth, the survivors watched the stars, waiting for the next phase of their revenge. The galaxy had learned its first lesson. Humanity's line was sacred. Cross it and pay the price. The battle in orbit had ended, but Earth's surface remained a silent, scarred testament to the destruction the Sci-Fi had left behind. The human fleet had won a temporary victory, but Captain Auric Voss knew this was only the beginning. The Sci-Fi would regroup. They were relentless, and their numbers were immense. Humanity needed more than courage. They needed power. Auric and a small team descended to the planet in a shuttle, cutting through clouds of ash and smoke. The ruined cities stretched beneath them, buildings hollowed and burned, streets twisted and cracked. Yet despite the devastation, signs of life persisted. Faint lights blinked from underground bunkers, and subtle energy readings pulsed beneath the ruins. Humanity had hidden, and they had waited and preparing. The shuttle touched down near one of the largest energy signatures, buried deep beneath what had once been New York. Steel doors slid open, revealing a vast underground complex. Walls were lined with glowing holographic displays, maps of star systems, and schematics of weapons far beyond anything the colonies had ever seen. Standing at the center was a figure Auric never expected to see. Admiral Alara Voss, his grandmother, long thought lost during the initial Sci-Fi invasion. Her eyes, sharp and fierce, burned with a fire that no enemy had ever extinguished. "Captain," she said, her voice calm but commanding, "welcome home." Auric felt a rush of emotion. Relief, awe, and pride collided within him. "Grandmother, you survived?" he asked, struggling to keep his voice steady. Alara nodded. "We survived. We had no choice but to hide. We watched as the Sci-Fi conquered the outer colonies, thinking humanity was finished. But we waited. We learned, we built, and now the time has come to show the galaxy the consequences of underestimating us." She led him through the complex to a massive control room at its heart. Here, the secret weapon awaited. A planet-wide energy grid capable of emitting focused pulses that could disable any alien technology instantly. It could cripple the Sci-Fi fleet, neutralize their weapons, and give humanity the edge it desperately needed. Auric's eyes widened. That could destroy them? Alara shook her head. It could destroy them or the planet itself if misused. Precision is everything. This weapon is a promise, not a toy. The Sci-Fi believed they could burn our cities, kill our people, and leave humanity broken. They were wrong. We will strike back, but only if they continue to cross the line. Auric looked at the schematics, understanding the immense risk. Humanity's survival was balanced on a knife's edge, but he also understood the unyielding truth. This was not a weapon of destruction alone. It was a weapon of consequence. Humanity had endured, and it would make its enemies pay for underestimating it. "Captain," Alara said, placing a hand on his shoulder, "humanity is not just alive, it is ready. Every child, every soldier, every survivor has learned the cost of fear. And now the galaxy will learn the cost of crossing the line." Auric swallowed hard. Pride and determination coursed through him. Humanity had been tested in the most extreme way, yet it had endured. It had hidden, planned, and prepared for the moment when it could rise again. The fleet in orbit, the colonies watching from afar, and the hidden warriors of Earth were united by one purpose: to ensure no one would ever threaten them without facing unimaginable consequences. As the Dauntless prepared to return to orbit, the voice of Earth echoed once more across the communication channels, stronger and clearer than before. You will pay the consequences of crossing the line. The warning carried the weight of the planet itself, a promise, a threat, and a declaration. Humanity was no longer hiding. Humanity had power, and when the time came, the Zyphor Dominion would understand what it truly meant to underestimate Earth. Arik gazed out at the ruined landscape, feeling a surge of hope mixed with rage. The planet had suffered, but it was alive and it was ready. And somewhere beneath the ashes, humanity's true strength waited to be unleashed. The galaxy had just begun to learn a very important lesson: never cross the line with humans. The orbit above Earth shimmered with tension. The Zyphor fleet, battered but not defeated, hovered menacingly over the ruined continents. Massive warships stretched across the horizon like black mountains, their energy cannons glowing red as they prepared to annihilate what remained of humanity's homeworld. Captain Arik Voss stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, gripping the rail tightly. His crew's faces reflected a mix of fear and determination. The hidden fleet beneath the planet's surface had risen once, but the Zyphor were cunning. They would strike again, and this time they would aim to finish what they had started. Then across all communication channels, the voice of Earth boomed, clear and commanding: "You have crossed the line. You will learn the consequences of your actions." The words reverberated through the fleet, a warning, a declaration, and a promise all at once. Arik felt a surge of pride and resolve. Humanity thought to be defeated was alive. Humanity was not just surviving. It was about to fight back in a way the galaxy would never forget. Below the surface, Admiral Alara Voss activated the planet's secret weapon, the energy grid. Waves of concentrated power surged through the planet, radiating upward and into space. The pulse spread like invisible fingers, seeking the alien technology that had threatened Earth for centuries. One by one, Zyphor weapon systems failed. Their shields flickered, energy cannons short-circuited, and their communication systems went dark. Panic rippled through the alien ranks as the fleet realized something unprecedented was happening. "Now!" Arik shouted. "Attack with everything you have." Humanity's hidden ships, sleek and powerful, rose fully into orbit, moving with precision and coordination. Every strike was calculated, every maneuver perfect. The Zyphor flagship, once so confident, was now vulnerable. Lasers tore through its hull, and plasma blast reduced its defenses to rubble. One by one, alien warships exploded in brilliant bursts of fire. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Arik's crew cheered, but there was no time for celebration. The battle was far from over. Still, hope had returned. Humanity had endured unimaginable loss, survived the Zyphor onslaught, and now was delivering a lesson that no enemy could ignore. Through the chaos, the voice of Earth continued, steady and unwavering. "This is what happens when you cross the line. You thought we were weak. You thought we were finished. You were wrong." The words were not just for the Zyphor. They were a message to the galaxy, to every species that had doubted humanity's resilience. Humanity had a line. Cross it, and the consequences would be catastrophic. As the last of the alien warships fled into the void, the fleets of Earth and its colonies held formation, battered but victorious. Arik allowed himself a moment to breathe, to take in the sight of humanity's power displayed in all its glory. Cities had been destroyed, lives had been lost, but the spirit of humanity remained unbroken. Below the surface, survivors emerged from bunkers, blinking at the sky above. Children ran through the ruins, laughing despite the smoke and ash. Scientists checked systems and recalibrated weapons. Soldiers saluted the stars, knowing their fight was not over, but that the galaxy had witnessed humanity's fury. Arik looked up at the planet, feeling a mix of sorrow and pride. Earth was scarred but alive. Humanity was scarred but unyielding. And through all the suffering, one truth shone brighter than any star. The universe had underestimated humans for the last time. The voice of Earth faded into a whisper across the fleet. "Remember this day. Remember who we are. Humanity endures. Humanity strikes. And humanity never forgets. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The consequences of crossing the line were now clear. Humanity had survived, fought back, and had begun its rise again, stronger, smarter, and fiercer than ever. And somewhere deep within the ruins of the planet, the last humans prepared for the future, ready to defend their home at any cost. Their line had been crossed once, but it would never be crossed again. The battle was over, but silence did not bring peace. Orbiting fleets still hummed with low energy, and the stars seemed quieter, almost mournful. Earth had survived, but the planet bore deep scars. Cities were ruins, forests were burned, and oceans glowed faintly from the fires that had raged across the surface. The cost of victory was heavy, yet humanity had endured. Captain Arik Voss walked through the ruins with a small team, boots crunching on shattered concrete. The devastation was overwhelming. Skyscrapers had collapsed like fallen giants. Streets were twisted and broken. Yet amid the ruins, life persisted. Children played among the rubble, their laughter a fragile song of hope. Farmers tended small plots of soil in makeshift greenhouses. Engineers repaired damaged systems, sparking lights in dark bunkers. Humanity had survived through sheer determination, and now they were rebuilding piece by piece. Arik met with Admiral Ilara Voss in a command tent overlooking the ruined city. Her face was worn, etched with worry and sorrow, yet her eyes burned with unbroken determination. "The Zephyr will not forget this defeat," she said quietly. "And neither should we. We won today, but our fight is far from over. Humanity must remain vigilant, but we also must remember the lives lost to get here." Arik nodded. He thought of the crews lost in the orbiting battles, the soldiers who had fallen protecting the planet, and the countless innocents who had perished. Every life was a reminder of the price humanity paid for defiance. Yet in that same thought he found pride. Humans had faced annihilation and had not only survived, but had struck back with courage and brilliance. Below the surface, survivors gathered in underground cities. Children listened to stories of the battle above, eyes wide with wonder. Scientists shared lessons of resilience, teaching new generations how to prepare for the future. Soldiers trained tirelessly, knowing that victory today did not guarantee safety tomorrow. Every person carried the memory of loss, but also the spark of hope, the unyielding spirit of humanity that had refused to die. Arik walked among the survivors, shaking hands, offering words of encouragement, and witnessing the quiet courage of everyday people. Each smile, each small gesture of life, reinforced the truth he had come to know. Humanity was strong not just because of technology or weapons, but because of the heart of every person. That heart had survived, and it was now rebuilding a world worth defending. From orbit, the fleet observed the slow but steady revival of Earth. Communications were restored with the outer colonies, sending messages of reassurance, strategy, and unity. Humanity's line had been defended, and now the galaxy would remember the consequences of crossing it. Admiral Ilara spoke to the gathered leaders. "We endured the impossible," she said, voice firm but soft. "We suffered great loss, yet we survived. Humanity is more than flesh and steel. Humanity is spirit, and that spirit is unbreakable. We have learned, we have fought, and we have shown the galaxy our strength. Never again will anyone underestimate what it means to cross the line." Arik looked toward the horizon, where the first rays of sunlight touched the ruined skyline. Though the scars of war were evident, there was life, fragile, beautiful, and defiant. Earth would heal slowly, but it would endure, and humanity, tested by fire and loss, had emerged stronger, united by survival, courage, and the promise to protect their home at any cost. In the quiet moments after the chaos, Arik felt a surge of emotion, sorrow for the fallen, pride for the survivors, and determination for the future. Humanity had paid a heavy price, but it had won not just a battle, but the respect of the galaxy. The line had been crossed once, but the consequences had been unforgettable. And in every heart, from the youngest child to the oldest veteran, burned the same unyielding truth: humanity survives, humanity endures, and humanity will never again be underestimated. Years had passed since the great battle above Earth. The scars of war still marked the planet, but slowly, life returned. Cities were rebuilt from ruins, forests grew where ash once lay, and rivers glimmered again under the sun. Humanity had survived the unimaginable and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. Captain Eric Voss stood on the observation deck of the Dauntless, looking down at the planet he had once thought lost. The ruins had healed into cities filled with life, laughter, and hope. Children played in streets once destroyed, and the air carried the faint hum of industry and renewal. Every light he saw, every person he imagined below, was proof that humanity's spirit could not be broken. The colonies across the galaxy had received Earth's message loud and clear. Humanity was no longer just a species among many. It was a force, alive, vigilant, and unyielding. Ships from distant systems now patrolled alongside Earth's fleets, a sign of unity and strength. The galaxy had learned that crossing humanity's line came with consequences too great to imagine. Auric remembered the words of his grandmother, Admiral Ilara Voss. Humanity is spirit. That spirit is unbreakable. We endure, we fight, and we survive. Those words echoed in his heart as he watched the horizon, where sunlight touched the oceans and forests alike. The cost had been immense, but the lesson had been delivered. Below the surface, in rebuilt cities and bunkers, survivors gathered to celebrate life. Children listened to tales of the Zyphor, of the hidden fleets, and of the courage that had turned the tide. Scientists worked tirelessly to restore what had been lost. Engineers rebuilt infrastructure, and soldiers trained the next generation to ensure Earth and humanity would never be threatened again. Auric walked among the people, feeling a deep connection to every soul. He saw mothers holding children, young cadets preparing for the stars, and elders who had witnessed humanity's darkest hours. Every face told a story of endurance, courage, and hope. Humanity was not defined by its victories alone, but by its ability to rise after destruction. As the sun rose higher, the communication systems buzzed to life across the fleets and colonies. And then, one final transmission from Earth echoed across the galaxy. We are still here. We always were. And remember, crossing the line comes with a price. The words carried weight, authority, and warning. They reminded every corner of space that humans were survivors, warriors, and protectors of their home. The message was simple yet undeniable. Underestimate humanity and the consequences would be devastating. Auric felt a swell of pride. Humanity had endured loss, faced extinction, and emerged victorious. The galaxy had seen their courage, their intelligence, and their unyielding spirit, and now humanity would step into a new era, not as victims, but as legends. Somewhere deep in the rebuilt cities of Earth, children gazed at the stars, dreaming of journeys their parents had only survived to see. Scientists studied distant worlds, preparing colonies for a future that would be guided by humanity's strength. Soldiers patrolled borders of space, vigilant yet confident, knowing Earth's power and resolve would protect them. Auric raised his gaze to the stars, feeling the unbreakable connection between every human across the galaxy. Earth had survived, humanity had endured, and the universe would never forget the lesson learned. Humans were a force that could not be ignored, a species whose spirit burned brighter than any weapon or empire. The sun rose fully, bathing the planet in golden light. A new dawn had begun, and with it, humanity's legacy stretched across the stars. Every survivor, every citizen, every fleet and colony carried the same truth in their hearts. Humanity survives. Humanity strikes and humanity endures. And in that shining light, Captain Eric Voss knew one thing with absolute certainty. The line had been crossed once, but never again. The galaxy had witnessed the cost, and humanity had written its name among the stars forever.